Recording.
You know how to cut this on?
Oh, you want it on now?
Yeah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. ثم ما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله تبارك وتعالى وخير هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار وبعد. We continue with the famous book of Imam Hafiz ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala min bulughihi al-maram wa Kitaabul Jaami, which is the end of his famous book Bulugh al-Maram, Kitaabul Jaami, which we loosely translate this as the comprehensive essentials for every Muslim, and we're in the first part of that 6-series book. Has this Kitaabul Jaami has 6 different books in it. What do we mean when we say 6 different books? When they use the word in Arabic, kitab, this means the subject matter is going to be general. So for example, if you say Kitaabul, in this case adab, then everything that's going to come is related to adab, which is considered mannerisms. And if it's Kitab al-Dhikr wa Dua, the book of remembrance of Allah and supplication, then everything in that subject matter is going to be related. So then you will have, for example, Bab, the chapter of such and such. It's the beginning of Kitaabul, the beginning of Kitab Adab, the chapter of being kind, respectful to parents, and it will be Bab, being kind to the orphans, Bab, and so Kitab makes a generality of the subject matter, where Bab, the chapter of, or the subject matter of, makes it itemized, makes it specific. So when we say Kitab Adab, then that means everything that's in this everything that's in this part, not 6, in this segment is related to mannerisms. Everything that's in this segment under adab is related to mannerisms, different types. And there's 6 books in Kitaabul Jaami, and the first one we're in is still Kitaabul Adab, the book of mannerisms. The last hadith we took, actually the last 2 hadith, the last time was hadith of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He mentioned يجزئ عن الجماعة أن يسلم أحدهم, that the group will be rewarded, so as long as one from amongst them, when you encounter the Muslims, one from amongst that group delivers the salams. Everybody in the group present will be rewarded, so as long as one from amongst them gives the salam. And we said there's no harm if each person, for example, there's 5, and each one of them say salam alaikum, salam alaikum, salam alaikum, to the 5th person says it to that one person. Each of the 5 will be rewarded. Each of the 5 would be rewarded. However, the point here, Salam is mentioning, there's a way that the group can be rewarded, besides each one being active in giving the salams when they meet a Muslim. As we mentioned the first hadith, إِذَا لَقِيتُهُ, if you meet the Muslim, then the Prophet said, فَسَلِّمْ عَلَيْهِ, then give him the salam. So that means, in this case, the group is not exempt because they're a group. They still have to deliver it. They still have to exercise their right when they meet a Muslim. So if Salam mentioned, يُجِزِئُ مَاذَا يُجِزِئُ عَنَ الْجَمَاعَةِ أَنْ يُسَلَّمَ أَحَدُهُمْ. So as long as one from the groups give the salam, then the whole group gets the reward. And if Salam continued that hadith and said the same thing for returning it, yani, that person, the group of people will be rewarded so as long as one from amongst them returns the salam. That was the hadith of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. We said that hadith is collected in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and in the collection of Imam Bayhaqi. Then the second hadith we took was on the authority of Abu Hurairah, and we said that the author mentioned in the book itself that it's on the authority of Ali. And we said this does not diminish or change the status of the Shaykh Ibn Hajar, because he quoted the wrong person to narrate, although the hadith is to be found and to be authentic. He said Ali. But people that came behind him verified that it's on the authority of Abi Hurairah. And we said that this is what's called Imanatul Almiya. Amana, responsibility, trust. Almiya, connected to the religious knowledge that you check, you verify, and that you don't mix up the truth with falsehood. So those people that come behind other people of knowledge and they verify and they check, they are doing a service to the religion and not a disservice to the one that did that great work. So Imam Hajib al-Asqalani, he mentioned the hadith is on the authority of Ali, but it's on the authority of Abu Hurairah. The next hadith we took was Rasulullah mentioned, alayhi salatu wassalam, La tabda'u al-Yahud wa-Nasara bis-salam. Do not initiate, do not start the greeting, giving it to a Jew or a Christian. Do not initiate the salams to both a Jew and a Christian. That is for the Muslim. And then the Prophet, he mentioned, and if you meet them in the roadway, then force them to the end of the road. And this hadith is collected in Bukhari only. And we gave some benefit from the hadith. One of them, that it shows it's not permissible to give the salams to who? The Jew and the Christian. You cannot initiate the salams to them.
You can't initiate.
No, and the Prophet said, La tabda'u. Tabda'u from the word bada'a, to begin. So Salam said, do not initiate the salam to the the Jew and the Christian. And this the Prophet mentioned because they lived at the time where they were in Medina with Jews, and Muslims did come in contact with Christians, and some people they gave salams to the Muslims. So, as a common courtesy, someone might think, well, it's okay to give it to them first. The Prophet said, La tabda'u al-yahuda wa mada wa nasara bis-salami. Do not initiate, do not start the greeting towards them first. And the Prophet said that which it is prohibited. However, there is a debate, and we mentioned this before. What about returning it? As Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned, إِذَا حَيِّيتُمْ بِتَحِيَّةٍ, if you were greeted with a greeting. And this is general in this ayah. From the beginning to the end, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He said, وَحَيُّوا, يعني فَحَيُّوا, then give it back. Now, فَحَيُّوا, give that greeting back. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say if it be a Muslim or not. And then the rest of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned ahsani minha, to give it better than what they gave, awduha, or just simply give it back to them. And some of the companions and some of the narrations of Salaf their righteous predecessors, which they are the companions, it's reported in authentic narrations that some of them, such as Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Jaami ibn Abdullah, and others, if they met a Jew or Christian, and the Jew or the Christian initiated salam to the Muslim, they will say back to them, wa alaikum salam. And this is a lot of narrations on the authority of our Salaf. And we know that you wouldn't say rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to them, because this is no rahmah for the one who Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has threatened them if they die on kufr and shirk. There's no rahmah for them. They will not be from those who receive the forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala will not give them the barakah, the special gifts in that which they have, like He gives the believers. As this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives, and He is the one who legislates. So this is a debate between the scholars. Of some others, they say from the hadith of Prophet Sallam, thought of Aisha, when the Jews, they said to the Prophet, Samu alaikum, may death be upon you. And that hadith of Sallam said to them, alaikum, same to you. Another narration, wa alaikum, and likewise to you. Many of the ulama, they said this is the greeting in the sunnah for the Jew or the Christian when they give the salam, that you say alaikum or wa alaikum, which means to you or the same to you. However, many ulama said that, if you look at the context, the salams were not even given to the Prophet, first of all. They were trying to give a tahiyyatan, a slick greeting, and the greeting was deaf to the Prophet. Whereas the ayah of Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is clear about greetings, and we have the narrations of the companions, how they returned the salams to the Jew and the Christian. The point is, whichever side you take, whether you say back to them wa alaikum salam or alaikum or wa alaikum, then we know the Prophet Sallam is clearly saying la tabda'u mada al-yahud wa nasara bis salam. You cannot initiate the greeting to them in any way, in any cost. And many of the ulama, such as Shaikh, as we go to the next hadith, he said that this is because Islam is superior, and that the Muslims are supposed to be in a high state with their Islam, therefore would not initiate that type of greeting to those who Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has not guided them to be upon the deen of superiority. Rather, the Prophet ﷺ, whenever he would greet them or write a letter, or have, when we say write a letter, dictate and have the scribe write the letter, before him, alayhi salatu wasalam, he would say in the letter, after announcing who he is, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, or after saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, min Muhammad ibn Abdullah, from Muhammad son Abdullah, he would say Assalamu, may the protection of Allah and his blessings be ala man, upon he who ittaba'a, follows al-huda, the guidance. We asked Imam Muqbil rahimahullah ta'ala when we were in Yemen about this, and he said that yes, this is the greeting that we find in the hadith in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari and others, and that this is for the non-Muslim. Assalamu ala man ittaba'a mada al-huda, peace, blessings, safety, protection be from Allah, particularly upon those who follow the guidance. He said it is not permissible for the Muslim to say this to another Muslim. And sometimes, the brothers, they say that greeting to the Muslim. They find a narration that sounds good, it's different, he wants to practice it, and he says, Salam ala man ittaba huda, peace be on the one, the blessings of Allah, and his peace be upon the one who follows the guidance. Shaykh al-Muqbil, he said, this, the one who follows the guidance, it means the one who accepted Islam. So if you say that to somebody, you're saying that person did not follow the guidance. This is the meaning of As-salam ala man ittaba'a, the condition, he who follows the guidance. So when you say that to a person, the meaning is that person is not a Muslim. Therefore, you cannot say that to the Muslim. You have to say to the Muslim, Assalamu alaikum, or Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, or adding wa barakatuh. But you cannot meet Abdullah or Mahmoud or Ahmed, say Assalamu ala man ittaba huda, peace be on the one who follows the guidance, because you're making a statement that implies your brother did not accept the guidance, which is Islam. So this is something that the brother should be aware of when you use that greeting. It's not for a Muslim to say that to the Muslim, rather this is for the one who is giving that greeting to the non-Muslim. Now, so this was the last hadith we took, where the Rasulullah mentioned not to initiate the salam to the Yahud and Nasara. Now we said also, many of the ulama, Imam Uthaymeen, he said, if that's the case for the Jew and the Christian to have revelation, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala has allowed you to marry their woman and to eat from their meat, and they have a special place, although they are from the people who are considered mushrikeen, because they make shirk with Allah. So you take the word shirk, making partners with Allah, mushrik, the one who makes the partners with Allah, a'adam billah. And they are kuffar, from the word kafara, because they cover the truth with falsehood, which is part of the meaning of kuffar, those who cover the truth with falsehood. So although they have a special place, they're not like the Buddhist, the idol worshiper, and the Hindu. They're still all considered mushrikeen. لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين. Allah named them particularly as people of the book, Jew and Christian, while he still clarified they are mushrikeen. Shaykh what they mean, he said, if you cannot initiate the salam to the likes of those who are from the special category of mushrikeen, they are from the special category of the one who makes shirk because they have a revelation, different from the other people who are mushrik, who are pagans, different from the Hindu, different from the Buddhists, and different from the rest of these people. They have a revelation, they have a prophet. If you can't say the salams to them, and it's allowed to eat from their meat and marry their woman with the proper conditions from the Sharia, then it is more severe. And bab awla, firstly, that you even try to give that salam to
the pagan who has no book and no prophet. It's more of a sin. And we mentioned, like, for example, the people from the nation of Islam, they are mushrik. وَمَا عندهم كتاب ولا يعني ماذا نبي, and they don't have a book, neither do they have a prophet. And some people will be upset and not process that properly, but the truth is the truth. You see, you cannot greet them with the salam either. No matter what you say, you can't. Another greeting, how are you, whatever, if you want to say salam alaikum taba huda, this is for the non-Muslim. Although they claim they're Muslim, even if now they make 5 salats still. So as long as you say Tabaraka wa Ta'ala came in the form of anything that's created. So as long as they claim that there's another prophet and messenger after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَهُمْ لَيْسُوا بِمُسْلِمِينَ, and they are not from the Muslims. So you cannot initiate the salams to them as well. And this is something that's culturally for us, from the Americans, because particularly we have this experience, and those in places like Great Britain and so forth with the Nation of Islam, and so this is an important point. The next hadith on the authority of Abu Hurairah. We have about 7 more hadith to complete Kitaabul Adab. We will review. Hopefully we will have the slides as we are preparing for that. We'll go back from the beginning, mention the hadith, its points. People will have the slides to see. Then you will take that information, review it. I will give a test date in advance. Whoever wants to take the test from the class online, those people or those people who come in person, they can take the test, and then they'll get their certificate of completion for Kitaabul Adab from Kitaabul Jaami and Bulugh al-Maram, inshallah ta'ala. The next hadith on the authority of Abu Hurairah. I have like 4 hadith on the authority of Abu Hurairah. Hadith, the authority of Abu Hurairah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And can somebody tell me who is Abu Hurairah? We mentioned this many times. He's a Sahaba we know, mashallah.
He narrated the most hadith.
He narrated?
Well, he wrote down, if I'm not mistaken.
No. So, Abu Hurairah said this companion of the Prophet. Also, we know him to narrate the most hadith. Many scholars, they talk about this. They say the most known recorded hadith, because there are other companions that they memorize as well, but some of them...
Is he the one that used to ask about all the bad things that's going to happen? No.
No, that's not Abu Hurairah. That's Hudayfa ibn Yaman. Hudayfa ibn Yaman. Now, Abu Hurairah, and he has the most recorded hadith, and there are some others that narrated, such as Aisha and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, and Jabir ibn Abdullah. Have a lot of hadith. Have Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As. Have many of the other companions narrated hadith. But some of them didn't narrate so many because they were afraid they may misquote on the Prophet. So as a result of that, Abu Hurairah is the one who has the most recorded hadith as it relates to in the books and that have been written down. But there are some other companions, without going into a lot of details, they mention just as much or even more than him, but it's not, they knew it. It's recorded, they knew it, but it's not recorded that they went teaching and saying it out of modesty or out of one to be safe. As Salam mentioned, about the one who lies on him. You know, Salam also mentioned, يعني وهو يعني أحد الكاذبين. He's one of the two liars. If you mention something, although you didn't make it up, you got it from somebody and it's wrong, then you fit the suit of a liar, especially when you talk about saying the prophet said something. Salam said, يتبوأ مقعده يعني من النار كما قال, let him take his seat in the hellfire. That's some real strong statements about saying things and not being precise when it comes to the prophet. Salam also mentioned كفى بالمرء إذا حدث كل ما سمع أن يكون كاذبان كما قال. It's enough for a person to earn the title to be considered a liar if he or she, they narrate everything that they hear. Because most of the time there's mistakes in what you hear. You have to have, as they say, diqqat riwayah. A person has to be precise to the T. So imagine everything you mentioned is from what somebody said, reported. And we're not even talking about righteous people. How about now righteous people? Yeah, it's possible that you will relate something faulty. So this is why some of the people did not go narrating, and it's not recorded how many they narrated because of that precautionary measure. While you're still encouraged, as Rasulullah said, يعني بلغ عني ولو آية. Narrate from me, convey from me, even if it be, here ayah means one piece of information. Rasulullah said also, عليه الصلاة والسلام, ربما يعني الهامة يعني الفقه ليس بفقيه كما قال. Maybe someone explains something very well that he's not a person who has a lot of fiqh, I mean a lot of knowledge, but guess what? He explained what he knew, what he heard to the T, with a better understanding than somebody who has a lot of knowledge. So you have encouragements to narrate the knowledge, but some people took their precaution because of the issue of many statements of the Prophet ﷺ. So Abu Hurairah is recorded to have the most narrations recorded, while there are other companions that had just as many or more. Wallahu ta'ala alam. What time do we have?
7:28.
This hadith on Abi Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu annahu qal, he said that indeed qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the messenger said, I'll mention the whole hadith and then we'll come back. He said, إِذَا أَقْوَصَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَقُولْ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. This is similar to the first hadith we took, the 6 rights of the Muslim. Here the Prophet ﷺ is almost like giving something that can be and serve as an explanation to the other hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, يعني إذا عطس يعني العاطس, if the one who sneezes, إذا عطس أحدكم فحمد الله, if any one of you sneeze and he praises Allah. So you understand that when you sneeze, from that you should praise Allah, you're encouraged. And if that person does, and somebody hears him praise Allah, then the Prophet ﷺ said, Shamithu. Then in the word Shamithu means say to him, Yarhamakallah. The Prophet ﷺ said, say that to him. But in this word, the Prophet said, إِذَا أَحْتَصَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَقُولْ. Here, fal, here's that fa again in the lam. Lam al-amr, command. The fa is used, therefore let him say. فَلْيَقُولْ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. So this shows you that it's an obligation. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned this in many ways. One of them is here. He says, فَلْيَقُولْ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. He has commanded, let him say, Alhamdulillah. And then the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فَلْيَقُلْ لَهُ أَخُوهُ نَعَمْ Mada Hamakallah. And what's meant here, if his brother hears him from the other hadith when the man did it, and after he sneezed, he didn't say anything. Rasulullah had another person sneeze, he praised Allah. The Prophet said to him, Yarhamakallah. The other man sneezed and didn't say nothing. So he was wondering, where's mine at? I want the dua, I want the barakat of Allah's rahmah too. And the Prophet said to him, you didn't praise Allah. So here the Prophet, when he says, فَيَقُولْ لَهُ أَخُوهُ يعني يرحمك Allah, then let his brother say to him, meaning provided that he hears him sneeze and praise Allah. This is the intended meaning. That he hears him sneeze and praise Allah. Some scholars, they said, replying to the question, what if somebody sneezes, he doesn't praise Allah, should we remind him? His Prophet said, فَلْيَقُولْ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ, let him praise Allah when he sneezes. What happens if someone sneezes and he's quiet? His Prophet said, فَلْيَقُولْ لَهُ أَخُوهُ. Here this shows you again the right of the Muslim, because Allah's Messenger said, أَخُوهُ, his brother. So if he sneezes and he say Alhamdulillah, Rasulullah in this hadith said, then let his brother say to him, Yarhamakallah. And he used the word Yarhamakallah. And this is how we know if the person sneezes and he says Alhamdulillah, if he's not your brother, it's not binding you to say Yarhamakallah. Like in the hadith when the Jews sneezed and they wanted the Prophet to say Yarhamakallah, the Prophet didn't. He was quiet. The Prophet made dua for them for guidance. Yahdikum Allah wa yuslihu balakum. Allah guide you, fix your balakum. Balakum ay shatnakum halakum. Shatna, your affairs. Hal, your situation, your state. Hakada. We made dua for them. But he left out Yarhamakallah. Why? Because from this hadith, the Prophet said, فَجَكُلْ لَهُ أَخُوهُ, let his brother reply to him with what? Yarhamakallah. So this goes back to the right of the Muslim, on the Muslims. It goes back to Kitaabul Adab. This is the mannerisms that we should have with one another. Now, so Prophet said, and let his brother, provided he hears him sneeze and praise Allah, let him say Yarhamakallah. And then he said, فَيَقُلْ لَهُ يَهْدِيكُمْ Allah وَيُصْلِحُ بَالَكُمْ. Then let the sneezer say to his brother who heard him and made dua for him by saying, may Allah have mercy on you. Then you who sneezed and praised Allah, you end by giving him the dua, يَهْدِيكُمْ Allah وَيُصْلِحُ بَالَكُمْ. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you. As we say in every salah, ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. Never feel offended if someone makes dua for you to be guided. Never feel offended. And it could be offensive, such as if you're debating with somebody says, Allah mustan, Allah yahdik, Allah yahdik. Now you know he's telling you astray. But in this case, when you sneeze, it's, Waradan and Nabi Sallam is narrated on the Prophet that you say this, Now, so the question, should you remind somebody? Some ulama, they said no. Some of them said it's general, remind him, because وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعَ مَنْ تَنْفَعَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind them, because the reminder in general benefits the believers for us. So some went there and said, yeah, he sneezed, no sin, and said, Akhi, praise Allah, say Alhamdulillah. Others said, Khalil, leave him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do what the Prophet commanded him. Others said, remind him. If you do, the reminder is general. So this is the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and this one is in Bukhari. It's not in the Muslim, it's only in Bukhari. So this hadith of Salam, he said, where Abu Hurairah reported, and Paul of Salam, he said, either Atosa is to sneeze. Either Atosa ahadukum فَلْيَقُولْ. Then let him say فَل. This is the command form. The fa and the lam of command. The same lam when the Prophet said, in the hadith about the one who's the younger one to the older one. Now, the Prophet used that lam. Yusallima. Naam. Yusallim. Yusallim. Naam. So this is the command form. Yaqul alhamdulillah. What about when somebody is praying? I'm praying and say, Hachu. Prophet said, then say alhamdulillah. So should I apply this in the salah? Hachu. I'm praying and say alhamdulillah.
No.
Should I do it in salah?
No.
Why not? The Prophet said, praise Allah. He didn't say, illa fi salah. He said, except in salah. No, he just said, praise Allah. So why not?
After the first takbir, everything that's lawful is not lawful anymore.
MashaAllah. You studied in Medina, Akhi? What's your name? Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair. Because once you make it the takbirah for salah, that's called it takbiratul ihram. That means normal things such as talking, chewing, drinking, laughing, looking around, those things became prohibited because you're in a sacred time that has, as they say, al-makhsusa wa aqwal makhsusa, particular movements and statements that you're supposed to say only. Even if it's something from the nature of dhikr, you shouldn't say it unless there's a text for it. And we have the narration where this happened during the time when the Prophet somebody sneezed, and he said, Alhamdulillah. And imagine everybody looked at him like, what are you doing? They couldn't say nothing. They really weren't supposed to look at him like that either, but it was so shocked, they looked, some from amongst them. They were like, so, and nobody said, Yahamakallah. They knew that much. But apparently that person knew this narration and he applied it in a general sense. So that's a good question to ask. If you're in the salah, do you do it or not? Now, so the hadith is on the authority of Abi Hurairah. An Abi Hurairah. رضي الله تعالى عنه أنه قال. We said قال means he said. Past tense, he's saying now, or he's saying in the future. Which one?
He said, no, it's the past tense.
Past tense, mashallah. يقول is present tense, future tense. قال, past tense. يقول, saying now or in the future. قال, past tense. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Some people say wassalam. What's the difference between wassalam and salam? Mother?
Two L's.
You might say two L's.
No.
What's the difference between if I say wassalam or wassalam?
Wasalam give salams. Wasalam is in peace. Wa is in and salam is peace.
Hmm.
And wasalam.
The difference between the two. One of them, you're actually saying a phrase that includes something being made. And the other, you're actually making a statement about something that you wish for that person. So, for example, when you say Salamu alaikum. Salamu. You're actually making a statement about the salams. You want that to be given to that person from Allah. But when you say sallallahu, you're changing the sentence structure. Sallallahu, like the word salah. Sallallahu alayhi. Sallallahu alayhi. Wa salam is with a shadda. Salam is not with a shadda. Salam, you hold it because the shadda. So it carries the meaning of the Prophet ﷺ having something from Allah, which is the same meaning, but grammatically it's different. It's different. You say sallallahu alayhi wasalam. It's as if you're saying salam to the person, like when you go to his grave. But when you say wasalam, it includes Allah's protection descending upon him, because grammatically this is different. Now, so this, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned this hadith, and إذا عطس أحدكم. We say أحدكم means any one of you. عطس means sneeze. Then the Prophet said فليقول الحمد لله. Notice the Prophet didn't say Alhamdulillah. Sometimes brothers they say that. Alhamdulillah. فليقول, everybody. فليقول. Let him say. This is the meaning of فليقول. Alhamdulillah. Again. Alhamdulillah. Again. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Yes. And let's say Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Then the Prophet he said, فَلْيَكُلْ لَهُ أَخَاهُ. Then let his brother say to him what? يَرْحَمَكَ. Everybody say Yarhamakallah. Your hamaka. Like your Y-O-U-R, your hamaka. We know ham from Jahiliyyah. We know ham from the Bible, ham.
You said your?
Yeah, your hamaka. From Rahma, your hamaka. Your hamaka. Yes, your hamakallah. Yes, may Allah have mercy on you. And then if that person says that to you, heard you sneeze and praise Allah, then he should say to you, Yahdikam Allah wa yuslihu ba'alakum. Nah, this is the hadith of Bukhari. That is a further explanation of the first hadith we took, the 6 rights of the Muslim. Now, the adhan clocks went off. What time is it now?
7:44.
7:45. 44. What time is the actual salat time? Iqamah. Huh?
It say 8 o'clock on the board.
8 o'clock. Okay, quick. Hey, yep. So that hadith is important because it shows you and it reaffirms the rights of the Muslim. And it shows you actually brotherhood, as Rasulullah said, his brother. His brother. Now, this is very important when you talk about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, if you take that hadith, and the hadith we had last time for the group, then you find that this issue of greetings, issue of dua is very serious. It's something that the people need from one another. We need dua from one another in this life. Likewise, when a person dies, you need that person, his dua. You need that person asking Allah for you. Now, this last hadith, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, will take as on the authority of Abu Hurairah as well. And the book of Hajj ibn Asqalani, he wouldn't always mention the person's name. If he's mentioned a hadith about Abu Hurairah, he's mentioned 4. He mentioned the first one, then the second, third, and fourth hadith, he's just going to say, and on him, and on him, and on him. He use the pronoun, and on him, and on him, and on him. So whenever you see that, it's referring to the hadith, the last hadith where the person's name was mentioned. And this hadith, he said, لا يشربن أحدٌ منكم قائما. This hadith is in the Sahih of Muslim. It's not in Bukhari, it's in the Sahih of Muslim. The thoughts of Bukhari. This hadith will give the fiqh of this hadith, the difference of opinion, and then we'll stop because the hadith has a lot you can talk about. This hadith, that term is a very strong way of saying don't drink. Ahadun minkum, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, ahadun, or ahadukum, ahadun, anyone, or ahadukum, anyone from amongst you. But in this wording, he said, ahadun minkum. The min is placed there between ahadun and kum to emphasize. This is how you emphasize. Salam is emphasizing this point in 3 different ways. And this is why one of the strongest opinion that you shouldn't drink is prohibited, standing up. That's what Salam in this hadith said, La yashrabanna. Lam is prohibition, and it's also emphasizing, and you also have the noon that you use with that lam. Then you have ahadun, then you have men, then you have kum. All of those are points of emphasis. Prophet said, Qaw iman, means standing. So many of the scholars have said, do not drink standing, flat out, because of this hadith. It's the position of Imam Amir San'ani, the explanation that he wrote to Bulugh al-Maram called Subul al-Salam. Subul al-Salam, the great scholar from Yemen. Around the same time as Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, when he was in Saudi Arabia, this great Shaikh was in Yemen. He takes the position that you shouldn't drink standing up because of this hadith. While others, like Imam al-Nawawi, who was from the time of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, the teacher of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, a great scholar of Riyadh al-Salihin, 40 hadith, explanation of Sahih Muslim, he has a different approach. Said that it's better for you, it's a khilaf awla, it's better for you to not drink standing. But if you do, it's okay because you have a hadith of Ali drinking standing. And he said he's seen the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam standing drinking Zamzam, so that's why he's standing drinking Zamzam. The hadith is authentic. We also have the Prophet sallam being reported by Abdullah ibn Abbas, كان النبي sallam يسقي يعني الماء يعني نعم. The Prophet sallam يعني poured some water for someone to drink, and that person drank standing up. So you have those hadith, the likes of Imam Nawawi and others, they said this shows you that the first statement, لا تشربن أحد منكم قائما, means it's highly disliked. Because the fact that the Prophet was standing drinking on an occasion of 2 or 3 Zamzam, the fact that Ali did it and he said, I'm doing it because I've seen the Prophet, the fact that other companions narrated such action of the Prophet, although he said one thing, is the reason many of them said it's disliked and not haram. But you have the Sallam also preventing somebody and some authentic hadith from drinking standing up. So this is what makes the dilemma. As Imam al-Albani mentions, the fact that the Prophet stopped somebody from that narration, where he stopped somebody from drinking standing, shows that the original issue is that it is prohibited. So this is a hadith that's in the Kitab Adab, and many of the scholars, such as Shaykh Abdul Muslim, who's from our contemporaries, and the scholar of hadith, the Prophet's Masjid said, if you drink standing, or if you drink not standing, it's okay, because many of the ulama take the position that the initial wording of the Prophet, although it's in such a strong and emphasized language, to not do it is a preventive measure, because it's better to drink sitting down. It's safer to drink sitting down, posture-wise, and going down, as a person's anatomy, sitting and drinking is better. But that if you have to drink standing, that it's okay, so as long as that person understands it is better to sit than to stand, and those people understand the likes of this hadith to be something that is detested rather than prohibited. There's others that focus on the other hadith, such as the Prophet stopping a man, and the language in itself in this hadith, la tashrabanna ahadun minkum qa'iman, the emphasis not to stand and drink. These are the two hadith we want to mention today from the Kitaabul Jaami, from the comprehensive essentials for every Muslim, from the book of Adab, Kitab Adab, Mannerisms. نسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يوفقنا بخير وأن يكتب لنا جميعا حسنا على ميزاننا وأن يخلصنا في كل قول العمل ويكفر عن سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع براه. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to write it down on our scales, write it down on our scales, the sitting. Let us comprehend and to apply that which we learn. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us people that strive and attempt that which is purity of worship, truthfulness. We ask Allah to bless us not to die except the death of the righteous. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Any questions?
So, like, I remember they was saying something about when they salam the Prophet, and he was saying when they salamed him, he said Tahiyatul Mix. He said,
Yeah, this is some narration. Yeah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the Surah Al-Mujadilah, this story, Yuhayyuka bima lam yuhayyika bihillah, that they give you a greeting that Allah Azza wa Jal does not greet you with, and the salams is that greeting. As the ulama mentions
this. Can you ask a question that's not related to the class?
It depends.
It depends.
Yes.
On what?
It depends on the question.
Oh, okay. Okay, the question is that if you go to, a lot of Muslims have stores that have a lot of mixed products. Mixed products, okay? They sell lottery, beer, wine, and good products too, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of time when Muslims show up, they sometimes want to give you a bottle of water or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if they give you a bottle of water and you get the impression that they don't think you're gonna drink it, and just say you do drink it and you feel bad drinking it, how do you deal with a feeling like that?
Have you ever asked this question to Shaikh Hamza Ali? This is your first time ever asking this question, or you asked Shaikh before?
This is the first time I ever asked this question.
Wallahi, it's lengthy.
Huh?
I said, Wallahi, the question, the answer that goes to it is lengthy. To answer this question now, excuse me, I'm replying.
Okay.
Be patient. This is from the etiquette when someone asks a question and the answer's a certain way, and that maybe we need to just study, because many times people sit in the class and they don't know, but this is a special gathering, special etiquettes that Allah Azza wa Jalla, His Messenger, brought forth for us when you talk about question and answers and gathering knowledge. So one of them is patience, so that the one could give you the right and can answer. And the question is a good question, but the reply is lengthy. We find the Prophet being asked something simple about the water and the sea, but because the Prophet knew what the people needed, he knew that they wouldn't just be using water to drink, they're going to want to also eat and so forth. The Prophet gave them more than what they asked. And this is one of the ways the people of knowledge, they learn from giving the people what they need. Sometimes you give them more than what they ask. So because there's so many different things tied to this, it's a lengthy answer. It's best that we take it at another time. But definitely, the water is permissible for you to drink. Drink it. Don't feel bad about that. You see what I'm saying? But there's a lot of things that are tied in, as you mentioned, what they sell and what they give you and this. And why would you feel bad because they give you water? Apparently, it's tied to because they have qamar and they have this and that, although they have halal things. Why would you be bad? Because they gave you that, because it's your brother, and on and on. So it's lengthy, and to answer it properly, it's better. Maybe you ask the Shaikh. The Shaikh can do a talk on this or give a great elaboration. Allah knows best. Jazakumullah khair. Hada wa sallallahu ala nabiyina Muhammad. Record finish.